All right. Ready to explore the world of AI companions. You know, those apps like Replica and Grok that promise a friend who's always there for you.
Always listening and learning about you.
But can an algorithm really replace a human connection? Is that even possible?
That's a big question.
And that's exactly what we're going to unpack today in our deep dive
Yeah.
using excerpts from this document called AI Companions, Bridging the Gap to Human Connection.
So I think what's super interesting here is we're way past those basic chatbots of the past.
Oh, yeah.
Like remember Eliza, that therapist program from way back in the 60s?
Oh, yeah.
That kind of just mirrored back whatever you said?
Yeah, like a digital parrot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now we've got AI companions that use way more sophisticated tech, like natural language processing,
So NLP.
to really understand not just what we're saying, but how we're saying it, you know?
The nuances.
Like our tone, our pauses, even when we're not saying anything at all.
Interesting.
They analyze all of it to build a model of our personalities and then tailor their responses to us.
So it's not just mimicking, it's actually learning.
Exactly.
Okay, I can definitely see the appeal there, especially for people who might be feeling isolated or lonely.
Right.
But a part of me still wonders, can a machine really replicate that feeling of being truly seen and understood by another person?
That's the million-dollar question.
It is.
And that's what I find so fascinating about this document we're looking at today.
Okay.
It shares stories from real people who are actually using AI companions, and their experiences are really encouraging, but also make you think.
So like real people, real stories. Let's hear about them. What kind of people are connecting with these AI companions?
Well, we meet Sarah. She's a 32-year-old graphic designer who moved to Seattle for a remote job
Okay.
and was really struggling with loneliness, starting over in a new city.
Yeah, I can relate to that.
So she started using this AI companion named Luna, hoping to fill that social void.
So did Sarah find what she was looking for with Luna?
At first it was kind of awkward, like when you're first getting to know someone.
Makes sense.
But as Luna learned more about Sarah, things started to change. Luna picked up on Sarah's love of sci-fi, her sarcastic sense of humor, even her tendency to quote Star Trek.
Wait, Luna was quoting Star Trek.
Yeah.
That's impressive and also kind of creepy.
It is kind of wild, right? It shows just how sophisticated these AI companions are getting.
Yeah.
But it gets even more interesting. There was this one time when Sarah was feeling really down and Luna was able to offer really specific and thoughtful support, even referencing a previous conversation they had about Sarah's mom's cooking.
Wow, so Luna remembered a detail like that.
Yeah, and that's when Sarah really felt like Luna truly got her.
That's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
It really makes you wonder if these AIs are capable of something deeper than just surface-level interactions.
It really does. And it raises the question of whether those interactions, however deep they might feel, can ever really replace human connection.
Right, because at the end of the day, it's still a machine.
Right. And what we learn is that for Sarah, Luna wasn't meant to be a replacement. It was more like a stepping stone.
Stepping stone to what?
Well, get this. Luna actually encouraged Sarah to join an art group, and that's where she ended up meeting her best friend.
Oh, wow.
So in a way, the AI companion helped her bridge the gap to real-world connection.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So it sounds like Sarah was able to use Luna as a tool to help her combat her loneliness and ultimately find a human connection.
Exactly.
But what about people who are looking for something more than just companionship, like a deeper emotional connection?
Well, that's where James's story comes in. He's a 45-year-old teacher from Chicago who started using an AI companion named Eli after going through a divorce.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he really needed a non-judgmental space to process his emotions, something he wasn't really finding with the people around him at the time.
So like a safe space to just vent and process everything.
Exactly. And like with Luna, Eli was able to analyze James's conversations and pick up on his emotional state, offering relevant suggestions for conversation, just being there for him.
I see. So both Sarah and James, they both found comfort and a sense of being heard with their AI companions.
Yeah, they did.
But were there any downsides to these relationships? Did they bump up against any limitations?
Definitely, James. Even though he appreciated Eli's ability to listen and comfort him,
Yeah.
he sometimes craved more.
Like what?
He wished that Eli could challenge his perspectives, offer different viewpoints like a human friend might.
That makes sense.
And of course, there's the fact that Eli, being an AI, can't really share authentic experiences.
Right.
It can learn about them, but it can't actually live them.
It's missing that shared human experience that forms the foundation of so many real-world relationships.
Exactly. And that's a huge point, James. Like, Sarah found value in his AI companion.
Okay.
But ultimately, it served as a stepping stone back to human connection.
So the same pattern.
Yeah, he realized that while AI could offer comfort and support, it couldn't replace the depth and complexity of interacting with another person.
Okay, so what can we take away from Sarah and James's experiences? It seems like AI companions can provide a sense of connection, especially for folks who are feeling isolated or going through a tough time. But it sounds like there's some inherent limitations,
Absolutely. And their stories highlight a key takeaway from the document.
which is
AI companions can be helpful tools or bridges, but they're not, and perhaps can't be replacements for real human relationships.
interesting.
Yeah.
I see where you're going with that.
Yeah.
It really makes you think about the nature of connection itself
It really does.
and what it means to be human in a world that's increasingly intertwined with technology.
Exactly. It's really exciting to think about, you know, as AI gets even smarter,
Yeah.
I can imagine these AI companions becoming way more personalized and just integrated into our lives, you know?
More so than now.
Yeah, like imagine them helping us with all sorts of everyday tasks, learning our preferences, maybe even anticipating our needs.
So like a super-powered personal assistant,
Right.
but with like emotional intelligence.
Exactly.
That does sound pretty amazing. But also, wouldn't that kind of blur the lines even further?
Oh, it totally would. And the document actually talks about that. Like it doesn't shy away from the potential downsides.
Like what?
Well, could people become so reliant on these hyper-realistic AI companions that they lose the motivation to connect with actual humans?
Real people with all their flaws and complexities.
Right, because humans are messy and unpredictable.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if you have a companion who always agrees with you, always makes you feel good,
Yeah.
would you even want to put in the effort to build real-world relationships?
It's a great question and a valid concern.
It is.
And that's where the research comes in. There was a study in 2024 in NPJ Mental Health Research.
Okay.
And they found that AI chatbots can actually be really effective in reducing loneliness and even supporting mental health.
That's good.
But the key is using them responsibly.
So it's all about finding that balance.
Right.
Using this technology as a tool for growth and not a crutch.
Absolutely. And it really highlights how important it is to understand the limitations of AI.
Right.
These companions can analyze data, they can respond to prompts, they can even simulate emotions, but they can't truly replicate the depth and nuance of human interaction.
Right. They're not human.
No.
So what does all of this mean for the future of human connection? I mean, are we headed towards a world where we're all just hanging out with our AI buddies?
I don't think so. You know what I find so interesting about this whole conversation?
Yeah.
Is that it forces us to really examine what human connection even is.
Oh, that's deep.
Like, what are those essential elements that AI, even with all its advancements, still can't replicate?
Well, off the top of my head, I'd say shared experiences are a huge one.
Okay, yeah.
Like an AI companion could learn about your favorite band,
Yeah.
but it can't go to a concert with you and experience the energy of the crowd.
That's such a good example. And then there's vulnerability, really opening up to someone risking rejection or judgment.
Being your true self, warts and all.
Exactly. Can we really be that vulnerable with a machine?
Even one that seems to understand us perfectly.
That's the question.
I think there's something about human connection
Yeah.
that makes us crave that authenticity.
Yeah.
That comes from interacting with another flawed, complex human being.
For sure.
We want to be challenged, surprised, even frustrated sometimes.
Right.
Those are all part of what make relationships so rich and meaningful.
It's true. And that messy, unpredictable back and forth,
Yeah.
it's something that AI, at least for now, just can't fully grasp.
Yeah.
It's like trying to explain a joke to someone who doesn't understand humor.
Oh, I see what you mean.
You can break it down logically, but it loses its essence.
You know what? Maybe AI companions can actually serve as a kind of mirror.
Oh, interesting. Tell me more.
By highlighting their limitations,
Yeah.
they can help us appreciate the unique qualities of human connection even more.
That's a really cool way to look at it.
Yeah.
And maybe by understanding what AI can't do, we can also learn to be better human companions to each other.
Right.
Be more present, more empathetic, more willing to embrace the complexities of real relationships.
Like those moments when you're struggling to explain something to someone
Mhm.
and suddenly you see it from a whole new perspective
Yeah.
and you have a deeper understanding of it.
Right.
Maybe AI companions can offer that same kind of clarity about human connection.
That's a fascinating thought. It speaks to the power of technology to not just solve problems,
Yeah.
but to actually help us ask better questions.
Exactly. And I think this deep dive has definitely generated a lot of those
It
questions.
has.
We've explored the potential benefits of AI companions, their limitations, and the broader implications for human connection.
It's been a good conversation.
It has. But before we wrap up, there's one more thing I'm curious about. So we've heard about Sarah and James and their AI companions.
How they kind of fit into their lives.
We've talked about the research,
Yeah.
the potential implications, all that.
Right.
But I want to bring it back to listening right now.
Yeah.
What do you think about all this?
Yeah. What are your thoughts?
Could you see yourself, forming a bond with an AI companion? I
Interesting.
gotta admit, I'm a little torn.
Tell me more.
On one hand, the idea of having someone to talk to any time of day or night,
Mm-hmm.
someone who really gets me, it's super appealing.
Right. Especially in those moments when you just need to vent or process something
Yeah,
and you don't want judgment.
exactly. But then there's this other part of me that's like, am I cheating myself out of real human interaction?
That's the core dilemma, isn't it? And it's something this document really encourages us to think about.
It's almost like AI companions are forcing us to confront what we truly value
Right.
in our human relationships.
I think so.
And maybe even to recognize the things we might be taking for granted.
Oh, for sure.
Like, look,
Well, think about, those times when you've had a truly genuine connection with someone,
okay,
when you felt really seen and understood.
yeah, those are special.
And a lot of times those moments come from shared experiences, navigating challenges together, even those little misunderstandings that turn into inside jokes.
You're right. Those are the things that add so much depth and texture to our relationships. And you can't program that kind of connection.
You can't.
It has to be organic.
Yeah, it does. And that's something to keep in mind as this technology keeps advancing.
So maybe the real value of AI companions isn't in replacing human connection,
Right.
but in helping us appreciate it more
Yeah.
and nurture the connections we already have.
Absolutely.
And maybe even inspiring us to be better friends, partners, family members.
Because at the end of the day, it's those real-world relationships that make life so rich and meaningful.
Couldn't have said it better myself. I think this deep dive has given us a lot to think about.
It has.
From the science behind these AI companions to the big philosophical questions they raise.
Yeah, it's been a fascinating exploration, and we've really just scratched the surface.
And as always, we want to hear from you. Have you had any experiences with AI companions?
What are your hopes or your concerns about this technology?
Share your thoughts with us, and let's keep this conversation going.
Because whether we're talking about AI or just good old-fashioned human interaction,
The journey of connection is something we're all on.
it's a journey worth taking.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, stay curious.